Hi. Today I'm going to go over the final project, Excel. The Excel is the most difficult part of the project. It has a couple of interesting things in it and is imperative to use for the mail merge in Word. So I will create the Excel video today. Hopefully, I've been having real trouble getting this one up. I keep running into bugs, so hopefully we'll miss it today. And then I will do a Word one after this, so I hope to get this up today. What I have here on the screen now is the original file, the same way as you should have downloaded it from Ferris Connect. On here, we are going to put a company name in here, and then if you look at the instructions, it says we're going to merge A1 through M1. We're going to center the name on the sheet. We're going to make it bold text and size 22. I'm going to do all of that offline. It then says to put in here the month, and this should be 2014, not 2013. I may change that, and so when you get it, it may be a 2014. So we'll get that changed, and then it wants you to put data in here. I'm going to go through doing one data, and then I will do the rest of the data offline. On sheet 2, we are to also go through, and we have 5 job codes already created. We will put a job description on those and a rate, and again the data will be made up. We just need to make sure it's realistic. On 3, we have a listing of services, and this will be the same name as was on sheet 2. We will total the hours from sheet 1 and put them in here. We will do a lookup for the rate, and here we're going to multiply the rate times the total. We will do that online. Now what we have here is a chart, and over here we have a pie chart. This column chart, actually, if you don't touch it at all, has everything in it to create it. That is a mistake. I should have had you create that chart, but since it was put out here this way, you get the advantage of not really having to do anything for these 2 charts. So now we'll go back to sheet 1, and what I'm going to do first here is just start a job number and a date. So you can create any job number you want. I'm going to go with 10101. And the date can be any date you want, but all of the dates must be in the same month. So what I'm going to do is put in here 12/4/2014 and hit enter. Now, to make this easy, what I'm going to do is just take these and copy them down. Can copy as many as we want, but you need to use all 5 job codes in here, etc. Now, what this would be is December, so the way this date is set up, and I should have done it correctly, was what I wanted was 4/12/2014, and then I wanted to drag that down. So that gives me a whole bunch of entries in jobs that I can put in here. Now, when I go across in this entry, I will first put a name in here. So let's say Dick, and we'll call it Jones, and this person lives at 101 First Avenue, and the city can be any city you want. I'm going to use Big Rapids, Michigan, and that's 49307. And then I need a job code in here. It can be any of the 5 codes, so I'll just pick 4. Total time, how many hours did we work on the project? So let's say for this project I worked 6. The rate per hour is going to be a VLOOKUP, so we will do that later. The total charges will be a calculate, so we'll do that later. The description of the job is going to be something that we also use a VLOOKUP for. So I'm going to pause now for a minute, and I'm going to enter in all of the street addresses and all of that information, and then we'll continue on. Okay, I've made a number of changes now, so I'll point out what those changes are. First, in A1, I typed Hewers Landscaping. Then I moved it all the way over through M. I highlighted A1 through M1, and I right-clicked, and I went to Format Cells, and I merged it, and then I went to Font, changed it to bold, changed it to 22, and then I also, on the alignment, centered both horizontally and vertically. I did the same thing on A2 through M2, except in that case I did not boldface it or make it the, well, actually, let's do that because I made a mistake there. Okay, Format Cells, and the centering is in, the merging is in, but the font is supposed to be size 14, and it's supposed to be bold. So, okay. So now April is in there, and it is correct. And then it also says take this, and to finish this up in the Format Cells area, it wants to fill it with a light blue 40%, blue accent 40%, which should show up. And we don't want to do gradient. So why is it not showing me the percentages here? I think this is probably blue accent 4. So that should be good. And so to fill the area, I will do that. Okay, so that is now highlighted. So now we have number 3 and number 4 completed. Rename the tab of sheet 1 to data table. So we go down here to sheet 1, right click, and we want to rename it to data table. And then it says, rename the tab on sheet 1 to data table. Sheet 2, so we'll go to sheet 2, right click, rename, and this one is to be job code. And then number 3 is already set as comparison data for you. If it wasn't, you would right click it, rename it, and put in data. Okay, next is bold the column headings on all 3 sheets. So we'll go back here to data table. These are our column headings, so easy way is I can just go there, and then up here and home tab is bold. Then I can go to job code. Again, I can highlight the whole column, and I'll click bold. Comparison data. In this case, there might be something else there, so I'll just select those column headings and click bold. So we now have number 5 done. Bold the column headings in all 3 sheets, and also the row headings on sheet 2. Sheet 2, here are the row headings. So I guess I want those bold-faced. Okay. Rename the tabs. Okay, bold-faced, remove all instructions. Now I won't remove all the instructions until later. So now I entered in a job number 101 here, 102 here, 4/12/2014 here is the date of job, 13 here, and then I merely took those, highlighted the 4, and copied them down. That way it automatically incremented it. If you want to type them in individually, that's fine. I then typed in all the individual first names, last names, street addresses, city, state, zip. I then typed in another city, state, and zip, and then what I did was I just took those and did a copy. Well, and actually just did a copy down. And that gave me a mistake because it ended up incrementing this number. So that worked fine for text, but not for numbers. Now, the way I could have corrected that, well, the way I did correct that was then I just took these two and copied and then pasted, 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 and then I had to do another copy and another paste to get them all correct. Then I took the job code and I did the same thing. I did a copy. I highlighted the 5 job codes. I did a Control-C, copy, Control-V, paste, and then I just did another Control-V, paste. I then typed in the time I spent on each job. I typed in a number. Okay, and then I went down and I typed in numbers for every job. So that is the basics there. Now we're ready to get the rate per hour, the total charge, and the description. Now, I also, when you get this, this will say description, and there will actually be 2 places that it says description. That's incorrect. In order to correct that, you need to go to review and check spelling, and then it will check all the words. VLOOKUP, that's fine, so I'm going to ignore all of those. Multiplying. Okay, so now multiplying is also misspelled, so we need to change all of those. Continue checking. Description. I need to change that to description, not description, and so I will change all of them. So there are the 3 spelling errors. We have corrected those. Now I'm going to go to job code sheet. I then typed in, have 1 through 5 here, and I typed in really short job descriptions. You might want to put tree trimming, lawn mowing, and cutting brush, planting flowers, leaf blowing. It's up to you what job description you used in there. I just made it really short. And in here we'll put an hourly rate. And I want those rates to be different. So I'm going to put in here $21, $25, $33.50, $30, and $28.75, just to use unusual numbers, and so we can use them. They can be made up, that's fine. So then we should delete this. That's an instruction. Click on this and delete this. That's an instruction. This page is now complete. Except what would be nice is if we highlighted all of this, and that's a table. I'm going to call that, so up here I go into the naming box, job table, and I'm going to hit enter. Now I can go to the data table, look at rate per hour, and I use a VLOOKUP there. So I can click here on the FX. It happens to be most recently used. If it wasn't, I could go to all, or I could go to lookup, would even be better. Go to the bottom where the VLOOKUP is and click OK. What value am I looking up? The total, the job code. What table am I using? Job code table. And that was not correct. So what did I name the table? I must have named it job table. Now you can see that's correct because here it says 1 trimming, 22, 2 cutting, 25, 3 mowing, 33.5, 4, so on. Column index, I always look up in column 1, so I'm looking for the 1, and I want to take not the word trimming, but I want to take the 21, so it's column 3. And the range lookup, do I want an exact match? Yes. I cannot type in anything other than a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So I click OK. And now all I do is copy it down. All the rates are now in there. Now what's the total charge? Well, that's nice and easy. It equals the amount of time you worked times your rate per hour, and hit enter. And then if I go back and click on that cell, I can just drag it down. Now what about the description of the job? Well, it's job code 4, so we want to again do a VLOOKUP. So we go here, go to VLOOKUP. The value we're looking up, again, is the job code. The table array is in the job table. But this time we're looking up the name. The name is in not column 1, but column 2. So the column index is 2. And again, we want an exact match. So we click OK. You see, we have planning. We can drag it down. Planning, mowing, trimming, blowing, cutting, planning, mowing, trimming, planning, mowing, trimming, blowing, cutting. We have everything there. So now I have done this, so I can delete that line. We've done this, so I can delete that line. We've done this, so I can delete that line. I've done this, so I can delete that. We've done that, so I can delete it. We've done this, so I can delete this. Our data table now is complete. Our job code is complete. Now we're ready to do comparison data. The first column here, we're to type in services. Okay, what you need is the 5 services. Again, you need to make sure they are spelled correctly. Everything is the same. And you need to make sure you do not put in a space. and I'm going to go through and put in words here, and then we'll check and see if it is correct. Cutting, planting, mowing, trimming, and blowing. Now, the total hours, we did not put in a big requirement for that. What you have to do is do this one by hand. So we need to go over here, and I want trimming. So trimming is 4 hours, plus 14 is 18 hours, plus 8 is 26. So this is kind of showing you how bad it would be to do this by hand. Cutting now is 7 and 6, so it's 13. And then we go again and we look. Mowing, planting, let's take, is 8, 5 is 13, 7 is 20 hours for planting. Now I'll do mowing, and mowing is 8 plus 11 is 19 plus 4 is 23. And then I've got blowing, is the last one, and blowing is 8 and 2 is only 10. So I put 10 in here. Now, what is my rate per hour? So this is complete, so I should delete this. Now I need to use a VLOOKUP to return the pay rate. So we go here again, go into lookups and references, go to VLOOKUP again, click OK, looking up the value. The only thing I have to look up is the word trimming. The table array I'm supposed to look up again is the job table. And the rate is in column 3 again. And again, I need an exact match. Really important in this because I messed up and I'm going to catch an error. Okay, now let's copy it down, and none of them worked. Well, why? Let's highlight this again, and let's again do our review, do our spell checker. I misspelled trimming, so I'll change it. Cutting, change it. Okay, and it should work. It didn't work. So now I have a bug that I didn't know I put in here. So let's look again. Value looking up. TRIMMING. Right. It's a big problem. Trimming is in column 2, not in column 1. We always have to look up in column 1. So my problem is that this job table I can't use because I use column 1. So instead, I'm going to do it the hard way. Go over to job code, and I'm going to highlight trimming is column 1, rate is column 2, and then I'm going to hit F4 to make them both absolute. But now it's not column 2 that I'm getting the money from now, it's column 3, it's column 2. Still must be false. Okay, it worked, and I can copy it down, and now it works. Now what we see happened is over here. We, for some reason, don't have any. Oh, there's no total charges. So I guess we better finish that up. So let's get rid of this. Get rid of this because we've done it. Now it says multiply the rate times the hours. That'll get our total amount. So in here we'll hit equals this times this, enter. And then we copy it down. And voila, it automatically worked here because I gave you everything preloaded in here. So it will dynamically create this chart for you. Saves you a little work, but you still need to delete this part because we're not using it. And I also did the pie chart. Okay, created a pie graph using the name for the labels, total charges for the data from sheet 1. Make sure that we emphasized the person who made the largest impact. There's one problem. I didn't emphasize the person with the largest impact. That should be this one. So I'm going to delete this and delete this, but now I need to go in and select the data. The selected data is okay. Okay, so now what I just did is I moved this back in. Okay, so now what I just did is I moved this back into the pie chart, and then I'm going to click on this one. Move it. Okay. Undo, undo, close. Okay, so in here, then, we will move this back in. Now we have that one selected. That one into the chart.